Okay, hello everyone. This will be the second part of writing the project proposal. So in the first part, we already talked about the introduction and the background. And then today we're going to focus on chapter 3, the preliminary methodology, reference, project plan, and also the team role. Okay. Now, chapter 3 will be the preliminary methodology of your project. Now, to be honest, this is not going to be the major part of this initial report, okay? Because I understand that it's still the beginning stage of your project. You may not actually get a very clear idea how to tackle the project. That's why I call it preliminary methodology. You do not need to actually cover too many on this part, okay? Because in your intermediate report, you're going to rewrite this part into methodology. So, but let me just tell you what exactly it is. So this chapter is actually focused on how. So how your project has to be implemented, how your objective has to be achieved. Okay, so you're going to describe your design. Okay, and my suggestion is you can using diagram, okay, to showing exactly what your design is. So methodology is just a set of method, okay, how you're going to solve the problem. Okay, now of course, okay, if you're talking about a methodology of a project, then it's not just the methodology of the problem solving. There's quite a lot of them. For example, the methodology of implementation, the methodology of the design, the methodology of testing and evaluation. Okay, I think all of you study COM 350 software engineering. Actually, the methodology is not just talking about how do you solve, how do you build up your program. It's also about project management. How can you manage your team? But here, in our FYP, I think I would like you to really focus more on the major problem that you are solving, which is your project. Okay, the others, okay, well, it's less important. Okay, of course, if you want to include, okay, how the implementation, something like that, you are welcome to do it. And there's a lot of different methodology. Okay, I think software engineering and project management already covered, so I'm not go into details. Okay, so we may talk about extreme programming, waterfall model. Okay, agile development, Scrum. Okay, so but this is not that important because we are not a software engineering methodology. Okay, you don't need to using those terms in our project. Okay, so I believe, okay, in your methodology, you're going to include actually the following 4 components. Okay, first component is the use case. Okay, so describe how we are going to use your solution. Okay, now so what is the use case now? So you're going to provide me actually 4 parts in this methodology. Okay, basically, the first is use case. Second, function requirement. Third one, non-function requirement. Fourth case, essential key technology. Okay, so now the use case actually is the diagram to show how your system is operating. Okay, so the diagram, okay, is going to be like something like that. Now, so you have some user, and then there are some functions in the middle. Okay, so this is called the use case diagram. Okay, so I think in software engineering you already covered. Now, in the first part, I will recommend you to have at least a 2 diagram. Okay, so one diagram is the component diagram, which illustrate the connections between the major components of your your project. Okay, so this is called component diagram. Okay, and the second one, okay, is called data flow diagram. Okay, now you can actually create a data flow diagram on the top of the component diagram. Okay, so the component diagram is just to tell you how many components we have. And the data flow diagram is actually just showing, well, what kind of data it will be flow between the components. Okay, so you have to include these two diagrams, okay, in the first part of your methodology. Now, this component diagram is very, very important. I'm expecting everyone will have that. Okay, and then describe, okay, how these components are. Now, let me say it this way. Like this is actually one example of the component diagram. Okay, and then this one is the component diagram, and then this is two examples. Okay, and let me see. Okay, so the components include some the square one is actually the process. Okay, some of the process you have to implement. This cylinder basically is the database, and then the arrow is actually the data flow. Okay, the data flow. Okay, now in the component diagram, you may not need to include all these wording. Okay, so this is actually the data. Okay, but in the data flow diagram, okay, you are going to put all this. Okay, in the data flow diagram. Okay, now another thing I would like you to do is don't just put the diagram. You need to give some explanation. Okay, for example, okay, grading. You have to give some explanation to me afterward what this grading are doing. Okay, so there should be some explanation for each of these box. Don't just have the diagram, but also you have to put in explanation. Okay, so that's why when you write up the methodology, okay, you can see in the methodology, okay, there is some part overview of your project, and now requirement and supporting technology gap, okay, architecture or high level system design. Okay, so let me give you some idea. Okay, so when you write down your methodology, okay, overview is optional. Okay, because the methodology is very simple. Whether you need an overview or not, you may not need. Okay, you may not need. Okay, so if you don't think that overview is needed, you can just take it away. Requirement is needed. There's two kinds of requirement. Okay, there's two kinds of requirement. First is functional requirement. The second one is requirement. The next one is non-functional requirement. I think software engineering already talk about what is functional requirement and what is non-functional requirement. So functional requirement is really the function your project, your system can do. Non-functional requirement means for example, the speed, security, or the robustness of your systems. 嗱，咁咧兩 part requirement 咧就係有兩個嘅 functional 同埋 non-functional。functional 嘅意思咧就係你個 program 你個 system 真係可以做到嘅嗰啲 function 出嚟，需要做到嘅 function。non-functional 咧通常就涉及到例如速度啦，佢嘅保安 security 嘅程度啦，或者佢有冇需要喺咩環境之下做啦。whatever 一啲唔同 functional 冇關，但係你可能需要考慮嘅嘢。Okay, and then you have supporting technology. Okay, means well, if you want to build in the project, okay, so what kind of supporting technology you need? For example, you need some hardware, or you need to using particular language, or you need to using particular tools, such as say I need to using PyTorch for AI. Okay, so this is supporting technology. And then the technical gap. Okay, the technical gap is talking about, well, how much you know right now, how much you have to learn. That means that anything that you don't know. So anything you don't know, you have to learn it. Okay, then that is the technical gap. Now, and then the part C will be the diagram that I just mentioned. Okay, the diagram here I just mentioned, which is the architectures. Okay, so which is the system architectures. Okay, so you have to include two diagrams, component diagram and data flow diagram. Now remember, you put the diagram in, and then you have to give some explanation as well. Don't just put in the diagram. You have to tell me what they are. So some P process, what is P process? Feature extraction, what is feature extraction? Okay， 記住畫咗個圖之後，跟住下面你要解釋翻每一個 box 究竟係做啲乜嘢嘢，唔可以就咁擺個圖喺度。好啊。Now and then you have to put reference. Okay, I think last video I already tell you the reference. Okay, and there are different type of reference. Okay, I'm not going into detail because this is already been done before. Okay, some of it is related to academic paper. Some of the reference is based on website. Okay, report, web page. Okay, so you have to mention all this your reference. The way you're going to do it is something like that. There are different style of writing reference. You can actually go to the website and search IEEE, APA, and Harvard. Okay, because most of my paper is from IEEE, so I'm basically will follow IEEE standard. Okay, so in IEEE standard will be something like that. Okay, inside your text, okay, you will find that, for example, okay, Apple computer, and then you will see I have a reference here, 1, for example. Then inside the reference, inside the reference page, you have 1, and then say www.apple.com, something like that. Okay, so this is the reference. Then when I read the paper, then I see, oh yeah, there's a reference here. Then I can actually go back to your reference page and then look at the reference. Okay, so this is the standard IEEE format for reference. For the others, APA and Harvard, okay, there are different kinds of reference method. So you can see I have put up some information. This is the APA style. Okay, and then this is some of them is IEEE. Okay, you can look at the document for full guideline how to write the reference. You can chat with your supervisor and see what kind of reference they prefer. Okay, but you don't just put the reference. You have to put the reference numbers on the main content such that we can refer to the part that you mentioned. Okay. Now, at the end of the project, okay, if it is a good project, okay, if it's a good project, then you may need to have some kind of membership responsibility. Okay, so you're going to have a project plan. Okay, so the project plan is not just to identify what exactly each member doing, but also you have to think about how many tasks you are going to do. Okay, and for me, okay, I already recommend every team you should have a team coordinator to actually help to manage the project in general and keep record, and also for a contract point to your supervisor. Now remember, this position is very important, but it doesn't mean that the coordinator need to do everything. Okay, I think the one to be the coordinator, okay, will be the one who like to help to coordinate stuff. It doesn't mean that his programming skill need to be very, very good. Okay, that and you can actually identify one in your group that you believe he is responsible. May not be the one who are at the top, okay, but the one who can actually help to communicate with the whole group, communicate with your supervisor. And you're going to estimate, okay, several key tasks, okay. Well, this is the key task, okay. Background study, knowledge learning, design and implementation, testing, documentation. Then you're going to think about how many weeks you're going to spend on those things. This is just the estimations. You don't need to really write very details, okay. And if you have any meeting minutes, okay, with your supervisor, okay, you can also put the meeting minutes at the end as the optional, okay. Now, if it is an individual project, then you don't need to write down the role of each team member, okay. Well, because you are the team coordinator, you are everything, right? So, but if you are a group project, then I would recommend you to discuss among the group what will be the role. Now, the role is not rigid. It doesn't mean that, okay, I am a programmer, then I don't need to write report, or I'm just the one who write report, I don't need to program. I believe that in FYP, the role is virtual, but at least you have some person who are majorly responsible for that part. Okay， 嗱喺 FYP 咧嗰個role 咧，其實咧就唔係好清晰嘅，因為大家都係一齊做嘅。咁但係咧我就會覺得咧有一個負責人喺每一 part 度咧，其實就會令到你個 project 咧會容易啲去做。因為咧到最後你 present 嘅時候咧，其實每一個人都係負責一 part 嘅。咁其實你最好有一個 members 咧，其實就係話我就係呢一 part 嘅 coordinator。咁你就負責統籌呢一 part， 唔等於呢一 part 全部都係一個人做晒。咁因為其實大家都係互相幫助去做。咁但係咧每一個部分咧，可能有一個 team member 係負責 responsible， 例如有一個 member 可能 responsible for documentation， 有一個 member 係 responsible for evaluation， 有一個 member 係負責即係做 design。咁佢係負責做呢個做呢個 organizer。OK， 咁就嗰個大家有個角色咧就會清晰啲啊，因為其實大家都會係做 analysis， 大家都會做 design， 大家都會 program， 大家都會 test。咁但係有一個同學佢係負責做呢個 coordination 嘅話咧，咁你其實做嘢就會容易啲。Alright. Right, so that will be the second part, okay? So project plan, okay, you have to edit at the end of your initial report. Alright, so that's it for today. And now please feel free to contact me if you have any concern about the format and if you do not know what you do edit, okay, just let me know. All right, thank you.